Frog Archurst was so much better when he made Halo tier list videos.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of Frog Doesn't Feel Comfortable Talking to the Camera. In case you're watching this but somehow don't know, I've been playing every LASO on the Master Chief Collection, and I recently completed ODST, which was the last one I had left. So in this video, I thought I would do a ranking of each LASO from easiest to hardest and discuss my thoughts on each of them as a whole. I'll put them in a tier list as well because tier lists make YouTube viewer happy. Let's hop in, starting with the easiest LASO. Number 6, Halo 3 ODST. I don't think this should be surprising if you watched the last video. For the most part, it was easy for me until the last level, which was an absolute nightmare and one of the worst levels in all of LASO. But I don't think that overrules that every level before Data Hive I did in well under half an hour and some in under 20 minutes, and then Data Hive itself wasn't that hard either. And I'm not like some giga sweaty ODST player, nor was I using guides to hold my hand. That was just me winging it because in terms of content, me struggling is funnier than me having no struggles. And like even still, some of my deaths were me intentionally making it harder. Like I got a few comments saying, you know, you can just run past the hunters on Tayari, right? Like, yes, I do, but hunters are another obstacle I can include in a YouTube video that's meant to be entertaining. Same thing with me, like not using a mongoose or a ghost to drive around New Mombasa, or not just skipping Mombasa streets entirely since you don't even need to play them for the achievement. So even with all that, like I had a super easy time with ODST and I could have made it even easier on myself. Another element that makes ODST easier is the Black Eye Skull seems to matter a lot less since it is a health-based game. So health packs regen your stamina, whereas like Halo 3, you have to punch an enemy. There are no other options to regen. It also seems like you can take more hits from full health with your stamina down than you can in Halo 3 with your shields down, which I think would make intuitive sense if that is factually true. But yeah, Coastal Highway sucks. I consider ranking this above the next one just because of Coastal, but I don't think one super hard level can outweigh a bunch of other easy levels. Like ODST's levels before Data Hive are probably the easiest LASO levels in all of Halo, outside of the ones that have easy tricks to just let you skip everything. This one will go in D tier. Number 5, Halo 3. Halo 3 doesn't have a level as hard as Coastal, but it is more consistently hard. Like if you rank the 3 and ODST levels together, Coastal would be first, then it would be all Halo 3 levels for at least a few spots after that. Granted, the arc did take me longer than Coastal, but I would still say Coastal was tougher. And Halo 3 levels in general are just longer than ODST levels, so either way, this one just takes longer to beat. I expected Cortana to be a lot harder than it ended up being. Once I figured out the sword regen shields with Black Eye, which didn't work in Halo 2 but apparently works in Halo 3, it became super easy. I think I even mentioned in that video that I was kind of disappointed by how easy it was. The end of Savo Highway, I remember being really annoyed by. Crow's Nest gave me a lot of problems too, specifically this part because there are like 50 brutes and I was trying to hang back and be safe until I realized it's actually easier to just go in and be aggressive and take them out. I did a trick called barracks skip where you launch across a gap with a gravity hammer to skip the barracks, but this backfired because that meant I had no plasma pistol or allies for the next part and it was really hard. Then I died at the very end and forgot to save and quit, so I had to redo the whole level again. But my second try on the level, implementing the things I'd learned my first go around, it was much easier. One other element, this also applies to ODST. These are the only 2 Halo LASOs where you can noob combo all of the main enemies. In these games, it's brutes, and the other ones, it's elites. In every other game, you have to be more creative. In these 2 games, you can just noob combo, which makes things a lot easier. So that's why Halo 3 is ranked second easiest. This one will go in C tier. Number 4, Halo Reach. This and the next one were tough to rank. I think they're neck and neck. I had a lot more trouble with Reach early on than I did as the game progressed. One, because brutes are an exodus onwards, and I think they're way easier to fight than elites, so every section that has brutes instead is a breather. But also, the revelation I had here was how to take out elites. Noob comboing in Reach, specifically the plasma overcharge, is not effective. It takes a few hits to take down an elite shields, but for some reason you can shred their shields by tap firing instead, which is really weird. So in the early levels in my video, like Winter Contingency, Oni Alpha Site, I was struggling hard, but then as I got the hang of how to deal with everything, it became a lot easier. And just like in Halo 3, this one had a level that I expected to be a lot harder than it actually was, that being Long Night of Solace, which is a nightmare on Legendary on MCC. And it was still really hard on LASO, but it wasn't that much harder than just regular Legendary. I had a tougher time honestly fighting in the Corvette than I did in space. I remember the final holdout on Package I thought was really tough. I did a death compilation there because I died a ton. But yeah, in terms of the levels, it's kind of like 3 where none of them really stand out that much as like, oh my god, this level was pure suffering. Like it's LASO, it's all hard, but it's more just consistently hard throughout. The only singular section that took me like a disproportionate amount of time was the end of Pillar of Autumn. That part did suck, but it wasn't the worst thing ever. This one is B tier. Number 3, Halo 4. A lot of what I just said about Halo Reach also applies to Halo 4. None of the levels stand out as being super tough, although the Halo 4 levels did take me longer overall than the Reach levels, the exception of that being Shutdown because I remembered the strat to skip basically all the level. But Requiem, Infinity, Reclaimer, and Composer all took me well over an hour, whereas on on Reach, only Pillar Bottom did. Composer, by the way, my final time was only like 47 minutes, but I got stuck on a section for like an hour and restarted the whole mission, which reset my time too. So really that one was closer to like 2 hours. What was easy about 4 was actually the Prometheans. The dogs, I'm not doing a bit. Like, I actually don't remember what they're called. They're easy, obviously. You just headshot them. The Watchers are super annoying, and them reviving Knights does suck. But the Knights themselves also aren't very hard for the simple reason that they're very easy to run behind and backsmack. That's offset, though, by the Elites, which are way worse than they are in Reach. Plasma Pistol overcharges don't work, but neither does tap firing. You pretty much have to just backsmack them. The Needler also kind of works, but not really. So every section where you fight Covenant is god-awful because of that. The disappointing levels difficulty-wise were Forerunner and Midnight. Forerunner I always remembered in the regular game being super long and super tough, but I did it in under an hour. And Midnight was the last level with the big fight at the end where Cortana clones herself and whatever, but since it was just Prometheans, it wasn't bad for me at all. Halo 4 is also going on B tier. Number 2, Halo CE. So first off, I am at a major advantage when it comes to Halo 1, because as many of you probably know, I used to speedrun Halo 1, so I know all the tricks and glitches and skips and the ins and outs of the different levels. And then yeah, I'm also just really good at Halo 1. Out of all the games I play on this channel, it's what I'm best at. So like Assault in the Control Room, I easily just skip that one. 343 Guilty Spark, I did a trick called Reveal Skip where you skip like half the level and don't even see the flood reveal. And then I knew a camo route where you can escape the facility basically without even fighting any flood. Truth and Reconciliation, on the hardest part of the mission, I glitched out of the map and ran on the ceiling. 2 Betrayals, I flew a Banshee through walls. On Keys, I phased through a wall to skip to the end. I went into the ceiling again, you get the point. So why do I think Halo 1 is the second hardest? Well, 1, I have the awareness that most people don't know how to do those things, but 2, even with all my game knowledge, this was the least fun I had playing LASO. Like, I had more fun playing Halo 2 LASO, even though I think 2 is harder. If Halo 1 had the same set of skulls as 3, ODST, Reach, or 4, it would be one of the easier ones. But C has its own unique set of skulls that make it miserable. The Recession skull makes each shot take 2 ammo, so your sniper rifle, you only get 2 shots per magazine. It effectively means you burn ammo twice as fast and have to reload twice as often. Combined with that, you have the Famine skull that makes drop weapons have half the ammo, so you're picking up less ammo off the ground. Then to make things even worse, you have the Foreign skull that makes it so you can't pick up Covenant weapons or plasma grenades, and Halo C only has like 7 weapons in total, and the Covenant weapons are 3 of them, so in conjunction with not having ammo, half the weapon sandbox isn't even available. And this also makes killing elites way harder since you don't have weapons to easily take out their shields. Halo C Anniversary has Bandana as a collectible skull, which gives you infinite ammo, and you might be wondering how it fits in, but in the LASO playlist on MCC, they don't include it. So if you want the LASO achievement, no Bandana for you. The hardest levels for me were Truth and Reconciliation and Library. Library is just so boring on LASO. The safest and easiest way to get through it is by killing every wave of flood as you run through the hallways, which takes a bit of time. And because of the ammo issues, I don't even know how you would do this level without ammo glitching, where you reload a weapon off the ground or reload without actually losing ammo. It's kind of weird to explain. I've shown how to do it on my streams before. And then Truth and Reconciliation is just a tough level. There's lots of wave fights and holdout sections. And then because of the Foreign skull, this level only has the sniper rifle and the assault rifle for human weapons. There's no pistol. So those are the only 2 weapons you have the entire level. If you run out of ammo, you're just screwed. Halo CE is going in A. Number 1, Halo 2. So Halo 2, the one that you all expected to be number 1. Halo 2 is obviously the toughest Halo game on Legendary. Like, lots of people think it's unplayable just on Legendary without any skulls. And the Master Chief Collection actually makes it even harder because the tick rate, not the frame rate, the tick rate is higher, which actually makes the enemies more aggressive and they shoot faster. So Halo 2 was already thought of as stupidly hard, and the MCC port makes it even harder. Throw in a bunch of skulls and you get the disaster class that is Halo 2 LASO. Like Halo 1, Halo 2 has some unique skulls that aren't in the other games, but they're a lot less bad in terms of making things unfun. Like every enemy being camoed or Sputnik, which reduces the massive objects. And Halo 2 also had a skull that helped, it being Envy, which gives you Arbiter's active camo as the Master Chief, but just like Halo 1, they decided not to include it in the LASO playlist. This was the only game where I was using guides, and I referred to them on almost every level. Outskirts, I didn't need one because that level is literally just run on roofs and then drive past stuff. Arbiter, I don't think I used one. The Heretics, you can noob combo, so that level wasn't too bad. But for the most part, yeah, I use guides, and this LASO took me the longest anyway. I can't even imagine doing it without the help of Halo Completionist or Jervalen. If I decided not to use guides on Cairo Station, I probably would have just quit altogether and not made the video. Even with guides, it took me like 4.5 hours. Absolute catastrophe of a level, and by far the longest for me and the one I had the most trouble with in the entire series. Regret also sucked, of course. Just setting up the boss room before fighting him was a major pain, and I had to do it twice because of a very unfortunate death. Gravemind sucked, especially the first room. I did learn Prison Skip. The prison is supposed to be a nightmare, and I think it's generally recommended to not even try to clear it, and like people just say learn Prison Skip. And Great Journey was really hard, plus I messed up the final room twice and had to restart the entire level from there twice, which I completely forgot about until just now. Also a disaster, but that one was largely because of me. Anyway, Halo 2 is on its own tier at S. So those are my rankings of the Halo LASOs by difficulty. I don't know if I'll ever do a Halo 5 or Infinite LASO playthrough, so that's why I went ahead and did this video now. But yeah, if you somehow watched this whole video but haven't seen my LASO videos, make sure to go check those out. Shout out to my patrons like always, and I will see you in the next video where hopefully I will be back as a frog.